My morality is being tested. So I'm keeping an eye on the snake layer. Now, I've told you all why I stopped with Mattel, and that may still be true. I'm at crossroads in my life. I'm trying to figure out if I can take my trip, and I still have my Razor scooter, but I'm worried about going to the airport with a prepaid ticket to go west, and they'll tell me my scooter is no good to check in, and I'm like, I pedaled 3 hours. It's a 3 hour trip for me to get from where I am right now to the airport, but that's in the fall, right? And I'm like, well, I don't know what's going to happen for me here because other than taking a trip and taking like an 8 hour vacation, eight hour vacation, by the way, 7 to 8 hour vacation. There's nothing else to really look forward to except the Snake's Lair. But again, Mattel can be a bunch of bastards. So on the Instagram, Masters has a survey. Now they finally show you what if you go on Instagram, you click on the Masters story, they show you what the set looks like closed. So it's open then closed, right? And you're like, okay, this kind of looks okay, but yeah, I filled it out. I said, what do I like least about this? I don't like the color scheme, but I do like the Iron Maiden. I do like the vehicle. So I'm delving into I'm playing double agent here because you have to understand, and as you see some of my toys up there, Masters before PlayStations, right? Before Nintendos, right? That's my beaten down Nintendo 3DS and some of my Nintendo games you can kind of see in the background over there. Masters of the Universe was a part of my life, was a part of my childhood from I would say 4, 5 years old, right? So a year or two before I started kindergarten, because you start kindergarten I think at 6 years old, up until I was about 9. So about 5 or 6 years, about 5 years. Masters of the Universe was a big part of my life. That and Garfield the cat, but neither here nor there. Um, it was a significant chunk of my life. And before we had controllers and buttons, we had toys and we had mini comics and we had regular comics, Star Comics, Marvel and DC Comics, and cartoons and the toys and the play sets and the accessories and the vehicles, right? That was a big chunk of my life. That was before Nintendo and PlayStation and Sega and Xbox could dominate and even mobile games. Okay. You don't understand how what it is like. So it's like cocaine luring you back and like, hey, just a little bit. Hey, I'll tell you what, you could even cut me with some Kool-Aid, cool cane, cool cane, tropical punch mixed in with your favorite. Oh, it's good. I was like, so it's alluring to have another place set. Now, here's one of the questions that they ask in the survey, okay? One of the questions they ask you is like, okay, what do you like about the Snake Layer set? What don't you like about it? Um, One of the questions, if we were to charge $300 USD, what do you think of that price? Now, this is almost like a 90% guarantee they're going to charge 300 bucks. I hope they don't, or I hope it's 249.99 plus tax, which would make it up close to $300. If it was $300 total, that means you're paying 249.99, and then you're paying plus tax, so it comes out to what, 275, and then the shipping is another 20 bucks or whatever, so it comes out to $300. Okay. Now I haven't bought any more figures, accessories. I haven't even gone on eBay or the swap meets. I have closed my mind off. I have sworn off of toys and things I haven't even bought the comics. The only new thing I did was reviewing Revolution, and that was on Netflix. I already have subscription to. Okay. So now I'm looking back at all this and I'm thinking, what about that Snake's Lair? $300. Now, if they were going to charge $400 to $500, I would tell them to go eat their mother's ass and be done. Okay, because the reason why you got away with that with Eternia was because Eternia was a sought after playset. Eternia was a playset where um, it was came out in '86, and you had a limited number of those, right? So if you were in California, if you went to Toy Town in Bellflower, or if you went to Toys R Us near Bellflower, right, or near Alhambra, you might have seen that Eternia playset, and you were like jumping up and down for this, like, oh my god, this is a different thing. We have to get this thing. And I remember seeing pictures of it, but it was so sought after, it was so expensive. And for a lot of people that saw that Eternia playset on the Kickstarter on Mattel Creations, that was like a second chance. But Snake's Lair is not Eternia. Snake's Lair, much like 2021 King Castle Grayskull, is a whole new playset. So the faith is tested. My morality is being tested. But maybe I'll just be sick of the whole thing, you know? Because not much else is going on for me. Not much else. A lot of people, when it comes to, this is the thing about, let me talk about myself as a YouTuber. I don't ever want to impose upon you that I am the only kind of YouTuber and there's nobody else. PewDiePie was popular, Mr. Beast, Dr. Disrespect, Boogie, Geeks and Gamers, the Nerdrotics, the RGT85s. A lot of these people, though, are very colorful and very distant. Unlike Star Wars Theory, I didn't post my first video and got like 300, 400 views. Star Wars Theory was talking about his eight-year anniversary. I've been on for 9 years, and I only have 2,000 people. He's got like way, way more. I don't instantly attract people. Okay, it'll take months. And then I got some trolling motherfucker on XCOM bugging me again. I had to block this asshole. I'm like, I don't need this shit. Keep in mind, if and I know you're watching, I know you're listening, I'm going to block every single account that you troll me on. And every single one that you change to, I'm going to block that one too. You come onto my YouTube, you come onto my XCOM, I'm going to block that too. Come onto my Instagram, I'm going to block that too. You clearly do not need, you need to learn a lesson. You need to learn several, okay? Like how to not be on this earth. So I don't like trolls. Anyway, my purpose of being a YouTuber is to provide an alternate source. Yes, there are those big YouTubers, but then there's people like me, people like Kali UK, people like Al Smith who does Ghostbusters, people like Rome Rush, people who aren't trying to be better than other people. We're just the other set of people that are trying to get your attention. Like, there has to be a demographics for people like me. There must be. There must be a demographics. But usually people who are bigger than me, when they say they're not going to do something, then they go back and do something, right? Boogie's done that. Review Tech USA is notorious. RGT85. Remember when Sean got canceled by Nintendo for posting something? And it was like, he was upset that Nintendo did that to him. And then the next week he was like, oh, Nintendo product. Oh, Nintendo product. Like just even think about going back on his principles. Here I'm telling you that it's possible that I may go back on my principles. Not because I don't think anything of my own, but it's like, what else is there to look forward to right now? But even if I got the damn set, I'm going to take it out of the box and assemble it. And then it's like, okay, then what? Then what happens? You know? It's like, I just did a video about the comic book movies, and they're on life support. But Masters of the Universe is on fucking life support. You see that snake throne? I would add that to the Snake Lair. I'm sort of in and out. I'm saying stuff that would lead you to believe I would buy it, and I'm saying stuff that would lead you to believe that maybe I wouldn't buy it. I don't know how I feel. I really don't. But like it or not, it was a big part of my life. When they decided to, and you could see that figure right there to the far left, that's Mossman. That's Mossman. That's the Mossman that got me to cancel Mattel, to kind of boycott it. Now, boycotts don't work because ultimately you can spend your money on Mattel stuff. You can buy. I mean, if you bought Tuva and Badra, and if you bought the newest figures from Mattel Creations, good. But understand that Mattel's playing games with you sometimes. So I don't know if $300 is a reasonable price. What I do know is that um, it is pricey. And I think that if they lower, now, if the Kickstarter doesn't work at the price they suggest, could they lower the price? Could they say, you know what, maybe the price was too expensive, maybe we'll lower it? Because keep in mind too, they don't do many play sets anymore, right? With what is it, Snake Mountain and Castle Grayskull, there was Super 7 versions, right? I think there was an Origins version of Castle Grayskull, but there hasn't been much in the way of playsets. This was the last original one. This one right here is the last original one. And Eternia was sort of a kind of a redo, but it was still the same Eternia that you remember. There's what you see over there is the Mega Bloks Eternia, not the Three Towers. Though that one I kind of showed you, I made up myself. So where I'm at right now is I don't know how I feel. I feel like maybe I could. The motivation is there, but the end result, the actual wanting to do it and actually punching in my credit card number and all that shit, I think of taking a trip, and I don't know if that could backfire on me, because here's the thing. I want to take my Razor scooter, or actually my Magellan scooter, or was it not Magellan? Mongoose. Mongoose. You know, Mongoose makes scooters too, right? I want to take that with me. Maybe scoot around the islands. But if Hawaiian Islands say no, or Hawaiian Airlines say no, if TSA say no, what am I doing? And I tried to look this up on Google. So if I really can't go to where I want to go, you know, and keep in mind, for me, it's not about sitting on a recliner out in the sand. I want to see the people's faces. I want to see the looks of the people that have lived on those islands for years. I want to see the poor people. I want to see the middle class people. I've seen some of the homeless people that end up over there and they're drug addicts, but but that's kind of what I want to see. I want to see the honesty of Hawaii, not the glamorous shit. Because all the glamorous shit, it's fun. You should take it in, but then there's the other side. So I'm at crossroads. Does that make sense? I'm at crossroads with my life. Do I do the Snake Slayer, or do I just never do that at all? Because there's no loss on me. But by doing that, not only am I spending money, I'm going back on my principles. It was that because Mossman did not get released in the United States, even though it was the last figure in the 2021 set of He-Man, the last cartoon before Revolution, I felt Mattel wasn't giving a shit. Now you could say with the some of the figures they released overseas back in the 80s, well, maybe they thought they weren't going to sell them, but I mean, you could have sold them, but they were afraid to release Titus and Megator without saying we're gonna release more figures. But here's the thing: Mossman was the last figure, was the last one. Everything else in He-Man you could find on Amazon today, right now. You could find it on Amazon right now, except for Mossman. Mossman you cannot find. I want to paid $60 for. But then I thought, why did Mattel do this? Why did they need to do that? Now, as far as getting the newest figures when they are released, when you try to get them before they're sold out, it's not easy, but it's not too difficult. I mean, you don't have scalpers with bots trying to program everything. So it's not that, because what the Super NES Classic proved was that scalpers with bots, they could do anything they want and you'd never get a Super NES Classic, right? Or an NES Classic. So in that way, I respect it. But Mattel kind of doesn't treat their customers with much respect. Now, they'll probably change the color scheme of the Snake Slayer and then say, oh, come back, everybody, it's a joke. Here, see, we repainted the Snake Slayer and now it looks just like the one in the drawings. Aren't you happy about that? Even though the design is completely different, it's the new design, but they'll repaint it to make it look like the one you saw in the drawings. So You can all let me know in the comments below what you think. But I'll tell you, if it costs a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 to get a Snake Slayer, then you know where I stand. I can go, bye bye, see ya. Because at some point they're going to reveal the price, and they say, well, why'd you say in the survey $300 if you're going to charge a couple of hundred more? Then what was the point of asking, right? And if Mattel makes that mistake where they have to have your money and they don't give you shit in return, then that's their own fault, right? They're going to do exactly what they were predicted to do, and that's it. So that's it. That's my thoughts. I'm just rambling on. I'm at crossroads. I'm always at crossroads. What's my final decision? I will leave it up to you to think it over. You can tell me what I'm going to do. I may or may not. Guaranteed, I'll spend my money on something this year before the year ends. Taking a trip, or the stupid Snake Slayer, or maybe nothing at all. Maybe I'll just hoard my money. I've got so many things over here. Like, what do I need, right? And I would know where to put it if I had it, but honestly, I'm not going to hold my breath. So until next time, well, I'm going to be looking at Conquests from 1983. That'll be the next Goth Metal lore, and more content to come.